Let's do this.
Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Mac here to tell you my thoughts about The Division. Before that, a quick sponsored shout out from Norton. So recently I watched a really great documentary called The Most Dangerous Town on the Internet, which explores data havens and anonymous servers, which are currently blurring the lines between good and evil on the internet. Now my favorite part about the documentary was the questions that it made me ask myself about internet freedom and what that really means. Obviously, internet security is extremely important this day and age, and Norton has some internet security software that could keep you safe. If you're interested in taking a look at this documentary on YouTube for free, feel free to click the link in the description or the annotation. Thanks! Hey guys, Macca here with my first impressions video for The Division. This is intended for those who might be on the fence or those who are actually already playing the game, wondering what they're kind of expecting, and just a little bit of a discussion video. I took to Twitter and asked you guys what you thought about The Division, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. It seemed that most of you, if not all of you, are having a really good time, even if you're experiencing some problems or have some issues with the game. So to give you guys a little bit of a reference point in terms of my perspective, I didn't play the Division beta very much. I don't like to get burned out on betas and spend too much time on them, set my expectations up, and then not enjoy the game. So I barely played the beta, and right now, as of this video, I am about 20 hours into the game and around level 16. I've spent quite a bit of time playing the main missions as well as side missions and encounters, as well as in the Dark Zone just goofing around with friends, and I've also been trying to play the game a little bit by myself. Now, from a graphics perspective, Ubisoft have outdone themselves. This game looks phenomenal, steps above what I played on the beta on consoles. It has great particle effects, great physics, and is pleasant to look at. It's colorful, but also does a good job at communicating the kind of post-apocalyptic world you live in the snowy New York, but there's still a lot of chaos and fire, and the colors work really well, and the overall theme and atmosphere of the game is incredible. Very rich and dense world with a lot of things to do and a lot of collectibles as well. So a big thumbs up in that department from me as well. The sound in the game is, from what I've been hearing, really good. Turn up those speakers or turn up those headphones and really listen to some of the sounds, especially when grenades start going off in the background and there's explosions going on. The sound is phenomenal, although occasionally glitchy. I've had weird scenarios where my sound sounds a little bit weird, and I thought it might have been from like a disorienting grenade, but none went off. So I was a little bit confused by some of the sound stuff. It was a little off sometimes, although overall it is high quality sound stuff. Now, in terms of the missions in the game, you can kind of separate it into the main missions and the main story components of the game, and then the side stuff. Now, the main missions are pretty engaging, and they're quite memorable in terms of their set pieces, although the story can be a tiny bit hard to follow if you're not paying very close attention the entire way through, especially before the mission, when a lot of the time some dialogue will come up as you're walking there or on your way. So if you fast travel to missions with your friends and then go right into them, it might be a little bit harder to follow. And similar to what Crazy Juan said, it is a little bit mildly repetitive if you kind of keep doing encounters. You'll see a lot of the same setups happen over and over, but luckily there is a lot of variability in terms of what you decide. So if you decide that you're getting a little bit caught up with repetitiveness in encounters, you might want to switch it back, go to your base of operations, replay a mission on hard, or goof around with some friends in the Dark Zone. So there is some variability, although there is also some repetitiveness if you don't mix it up for yourself occasionally. Now, the most important part of the game is the gameplay, and is the game good or is the game fun? I agree with Dan Webb here. Good gunplay, wonderful world, a good amount of content, and the Dark Zone is great, but nothing earth-shattering. Now, clearly the game is doing something right. There are millions of people playing it. It kept me interested for 20 hours in like the first day it was out. So it's clearly addicting and clearly fun. Now, do I think the gunplay is the best gunplay you will ever find in any third-person game? Probably not. But is that really the most necessary and vital part of a AAA game nowadays? Probably not. I think the game makes up for all its small issues with some of the gunplay easily with the atmosphere and the world and the environment of New York. Honestly, it is so engaging, so rich, and so dense, and so realistically done, and the landmarks and everything in New York is like so precise. The game world is so lively, and that's a really important part of a game like this, and I think that's where this game shines. On top of that, the game has pretty deep gameplay mechanics, and MMORPG style of gear and weapons, which does a nice job of inviting solo and team strategies into your everyday gameplay and missions. So, are the game servers good? Yes, they function well. Is the matchmaking good? Yes, it functions well. Is this game better enjoyed with friends? Yes, probably for sure. I did try to play this game quite a bit solo. It's just not as fun. You're probably going to want to roll around with friends and or clanmates or people you find online that you can communicate with, have a schedule with, and actually enjoy your time with. Playing with randoms or playing in a party with your friends while you're playing with random people who you can't communicate to is just not as fun. You're going to want to get a group together and go through the game with that group. It's just simply more enjoyable, even though the game is completely functional in its own way, just playing as a solo player. Also, I do think the user interface can be a little bit confusing, and I am quite worried for how the end game is going to function. J. Cole said that everything up to level 30 is just fluffer, all he cares about is the end game. Now, I disagree a little bit here. End game is important for a lot of people, but I think the Division does a really good job of getting you to the end game. Like I said, the missions are engaging, and there's a lot of time and a lot of experiences you can have getting up to the max level, which is level 30. Upon getting to the max level, traditionally MMORPGs have challenging sets of different activities you can do with your friends that really push the limits and get you that ultimate gear. Now, does this game need that? For the majority of people, probably yes. For me, I'm not really sure. I'm having a really good time, and I would honestly be completely satisfied with this game if it just took me through to level 30 and I had a really enjoyable experience all the way through. Obviously, only time will tell. I'm estimating it's going to take me anywhere between 40 to 60 hours to get to level 30 at the pace I'm going and the way I'm doing it. So it's going to be a while before I really get into the end game and then decide if the end game is something that's going to keep me hooked for yet another 100 hours. Now, Darren on Twitter mentioned that he thought the face customization was very lackluster. I actually thought in general the game suffers from a few things in terms of its customization that are lackluster. Like I said, the UI is a little bit confusing, which is fine, but I also think there's some issues with the character design when you first start. There aren't as many options as I would have liked. And there's also some problems. I don't think there's enough camos and enough unique camos early on in the game. I also think that there are some problems with the way the appearance or outfits work in the game. There's no way to preview outfits before you buy them, and no way to kind of preview anything on your character before equipping it. And then if you decide that you don't like it, searching for the old item you had on is a little bit difficult and a little bit cumbersome in the menu that the game has. Now, the good thing is that Ubisoft plans to continually update this game and continually give players more over the next couple of months or even years. In April, we're already getting incursions, which are basically Destiny raids. They're made for like really high people to get really good gear. We'll also have some loot trading between players, as well as DLC in June, the summer, and next winter. Also, before I end off the review, I should mention there are a lot of people going around in the world and being trolls. Unfortunately, Ubisoft made the decision to have characters in social areas not be ghosts, which means you can't walk through people or push them out of the way. And what happens is that there's certain choke points, like doorways, where people will just stand and block everyone else from exiting. Even NPCs will do this, and sometimes if you're waiting in a lineup to actually talk to someone, that lineup can take forever, and you can't actually talk to the person you're trying to talk to unless everyone gets out of your way. Now, if you're still listening and you're still wondering, should I get this game? The answer is, I don't know. The game is very fun, very addicting. I'm having a great time with friends and a good time without friends. The game has solid gunplay, a great world, good audio, a couple issues that really don't break the game in any way, although they're mild annoyances. All in all, this is a fantastic game, and I do recommend that you pick it up if you get the chance, and if you already haven't. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special shout out to Heron Giggles, as well as Doc Cupcake 84 for supporting the show on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully, I see you next time. Peace.
Package is secure. Extraction complete.